Might reference my notes.
Hi, folks. This is Rick Husey. We're here for Tech Tuesday, and we'll be back in just a moment. Hey, again, this is Rick Husey. Thanks for joining us for Tech Tuesday, and sitting next to me here is Peter Olivia. And I know if you are tuning in, you may, if you didn't get my last email message, you may be expecting Brady Volpe.
Much better looking.
I know, I know you're probably disappointed as I am that Pete is here.
Most people are disappointed when I'm here.
No, seriously, we are sorry that Brady couldn't join us today, but I plan on rescheduling with him so that we can talk again about ingress in the upstream and the intermittent modem tool and preacquisition analyzer. But this was a good opportunity since we had a release last week of TruVision. We added a couple of things in there, and you mentioned you might even want to do a few other things we didn't talk about. So.
Yeah, we had a couple releases since the last time we met and presented and whatnot. Yeah. So we might go over a couple items that people didn't know about that got added in. We kind of sneak stuff in. We add features in all the time. So.
Yeah, and we always try to send an email when we do that, but a lot of times we don't necessarily explain what that is. So
right.
Yeah. So anyway, did you want to just start?
Do you want to? Do we have a TruVision up and running?
I do.
I was trying to cheat on my. I'm cheating, guys, on my phone to remember the release notes.
He's so busy. He's so busy. He can't remember what he's done, which is fine. I'm happy about
it was short notice, right? It was like, hey, what are you doing this afternoon? I thought you were going to buy me lunch.
Yeah, that's true. Well, maybe later. Much later. All right. So and again, so what we're looking at here is what we call the trial version of TruVision, which is something that we show to prospects and also that we use just to. As part of somewhat for our development, but it's real devices out in the field in a cable plant, but the names are changed to protect the innocent, and these modems are not actually at any addresses. If you're looking at a map, they're not actually located there. But other than that, this is a real cable plant that we're looking at.
Sure. And so if you, I don't know, quick and dirty what we did, some of the things.
Maybe the last release.
Well, I can give you a couple things that have added in there. I know people. Some might have an unauthorized report. Previously, we didn't have a way to, who was it? It was just a list. Mm-hmm. Well, now you can click and get to the link to the, who was that, right? For the unauthorized, and it pulls it up. In other words, there's no customer information. Unauthorized devices are devices that we found on a CMTS but don't have account information or an address, so we can't geocode them or whatever. It might be someone went to the local, cable modem vendor like
Best Buy. Yeah.
Best Buy. I can say Best Buy. I'm always afraid to say names.
Best Buy, Walmart, Target. How many do we need to name?
Yeah, exactly. And anybody else that might
sell modems.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But the customer might put stuff in, plug it in, and get a no service or whatever. You can find out who they are, or it might be something that the accounting information hasn't been updated. Well, we've got this customer. I know they're why don't they have accounting info? There might be someone forgot to put it in the system. They may have gone in and swapped a modem or did something. Mm-hmm. But that's an unauthorized modem. Well, we put a link in there so you can jump to the modem and get to it from there. Mm-hmm. Some other things that got added that some people asked for. We added links here in the. Let me turn off the auto update so we don't jump on the screen. We put some links in here to these counts at the channel level. So when you pull it up, it used to just have a number. Well, now you can click and go to offline modems, ranging modems, online modems. Oh, well, there's 3 offline on that same channel. Let me go see who they are. And click, and it'll pull it up and take you directly to it. Okay. All right. So that's something that we added in a recent release. Let's pick somebody that's got at least is on the map. Yeah. I feel better. It looks better.
Even though it's not really on that spot in the map, it does look better. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So we got a map and everything. Yeah. So like you said, they show all these links on there. The unauthorized modem has it. In the most recent release, we added in some extra things. Like we moved upstream or uncorrectable code word errors up to a per channel level. We used to show it at the modem level down here in the communications panel. Mm-hmm. And a couple releases back, we moved it up to the signal quality section. But the graph, the old overall number was still in the drill through for the communication panel. We've now moved it up to the multi-channel graph, right? Well, click it, there you go. And now you see, in addition to the former things, upstream, receive power, and SNR and transmit, you now have uncorrectable code words and correctable code words on a per channel level, and you can see those values in min-max. Same thing on the downstream side, right?
Yeah.
And you can see these guys did some channel flips, right? So this guy's been moving around, but you can see all the channels. You can see both correctables and uncorrectables for the upstream and downstream side now, and it goes all the way back 90 days. So you see it historically on a per channel basis when it used to be overall for the device. So we've given you a more granular look. That's something that we thought people would like, and it actually, right as we were releasing it, somebody actually asked for it. So it was good predictive timing on our part.
Yeah.
Another thing that was added in and the communication panel is, we've had this asked in the past, we used to only show 24 hours of bandwidth, and now we're starting to show multiple days. We just released it. There's something going on where we're getting modem communication issues. That's why we're getting these gaps in here, but we're analyzing. But what we did was we made it so that you could get 24, and this is why I didn't want to do the release until I got it all fixed, right? I didn't want to do the announcement until we were all done. But now you're going to be able to see over 24, 7 day, 30 day, 90 days, rather than just 24 hours. Like, what was this customer's bandwidth rate over the past 7 days? Like on Thursday. We turned it on, but like I said, for some reason we're getting a gap in between here. I escalated that up. At some point we're analyzing, but because you reached me out on a Tuesday I wasn't ready for, I didn't have this fixed yet. So probably next release we'll have it where it's all smoothed out.
Okay, and then you've got live as well. So
oh yeah, I totally forgot that you can go live. So I'm glad you said that. So if you're working with a customer and they're doing whatever and they're making changes, you can actually see what their live bandwidth stream is right now.
So maybe they can say, my internet's really slow, and you can see,
or I've got no access at all, or I can only get 10 megs, and then go do something, and you can see that they're actually transmitting at a certain rate.
And could that be something like a virus or something that would be maybe?
Yeah, I mean, if they got hacked, they're like, I'm not doing anything. They could have a hacked PC, and you could see tons of bandwidth. But it's also helpful because it used to be just 24 hours. I'm like, well, has it been doing that all week?
Right.
Or what was it doing last month? Or you can go and see that historically or in real time. And the uncorrectables and code word errors, correctables and uncorrectables do the same thing live on the other screen. So those are like the two main features we added last sprint. On the 3.1 tab, the OFDM tab, we did add the auto update and refresh capability. I think we did get that, didn't we? I think that was when we did the OFDM tab, that was on there. We had added that in a recent release.
I know that was an email we sent out. So I think that was the last
but I think we also covered it in the last video. And then cheating back on my release notes, let me see. Oh, another thing we added a report for the MAC domain level. Like, we do have an overview that shows the highest MAC domain users, but there's now actually reports for MAC domain downstream bandwidth, right? Like, let me do like 20th to the 21st, and you can run it, and it'll tell you each MAC domain. What's my max? We kind of had this on the overview, but it was last 24 hours. This is, you can go back. We're capturing it historically, and you can see a report as, and you can sort it. And we've got the average and the max. Teaser, we're going to probably add percent on here. What's your percent utilization? That's great. It's 115 megabits per second, but then how much capacity is there? So we put this in here for throughput, but we're going to also do percent. This was the rate. I think on the overview it shows the percent, and percent's really what people are looking for. But we were asked for megabits, and now we're going to add percent as well. And then we have this in the upstream and downstream direction. And on the upstream side, because usually you're looking at fiber nodes, you don't really want to see total overview of MAC domain utilization. You really want to see it at the fiber node. So you can, if I sort by MAC domain, there's multiple fiber nodes, right? And I want to be able to see the different fiber nodes per channel. So because at the MAC domain you might have multiple upstreams, but you're breaking up those upstreams into individual fiber nodes. So it's done by fiber node. So we have the info, but you really are curious about what's my fiber node doing, not just what my MAC domain's doing, because the MAC domain is more, right? And people are on a fiber node. So, but this reporting was added in for people to do capacity planning and be able to see where are my bandwidth challenges in my plant.
Speaking of fiber, I know it's different, on the subscriber end, but you may not be aware that, because a lot of the folks that use TruVision, because this was where we started, was DOCSIS, right? But we do support fiber in TruVision. We support the Calyx E7, correct?
Yeah, we have the Calyx E7, the Adtran 5000, the 9500 to come, Zone to come, Nokia to come, and we also support Aurora, this legacy.
Yeah.
We do have a lab one on here, but I think they just pulled it.
So
I don't know if it's working.
Yeah.
I know that they were rewiring. Let me see. It has been not working because they're rewiring it. So
yeah,
like I said, not prepared for this. I was asked me this morning. Yeah, but you would be able to see it on the screen. I just don't have. It's not wired up.
It's not in the lab. So, but there was something. I guess in this last release we added a couple of pictures of some fiber devices or something. So
yeah, as we find devices that come out that are new, we'll put a picture on there so the field techs can go, oh, what is it supposed to look? Oh, well, yeah, okay, they know which one it is.
Yeah.
But we also did add attemptings for fiber. We had online, offline degraded, and alarm status, but we didn't have attempting, like for devices that were coming online, and if somebody kept coming on and bouncing, it would stay in attempting status. So we added, one of the other things we added was kind of like we do on the CMTS page. You have attempting down here on the fiber. We've added an attempting as a list. So I think I actually have it here, but they just pulled it. Yeah, see, they pulled it all. I get a bunch of errors, but they have one of the statuses we added was attempting.
Oh, okay.
To the list.
Yep.
But like I said, they pulled my OLT in my lab.
Yeah, this is all stuff, or that part is stuff in the lab.
That's why that's why I got all those errors, because it was trying to talk to a unit that those guys pulled. They're playing with the OLT stuff in the lab today.
Yeah. So real quickly, why don't you tell folks that are watching, because a lot of them are TruVision customers, how it is that we go about, like what our sprints are like, and how you guys approach development and adding, updating and adding new features.
Sure. You want to change it so they're not looking at the TruVision screen?
Sure. They can look at us. Yeah.
They can see my ugly mug.
Well, they see they see a small little picture.
There you go.
They can go back to us.
There you go. Sure. So yeah, from a development perspective, how does that work? We are very agile-ish, is what I would call it. And what does that mean? So every month we sit down and evaluate what are the things we want to do for the month, and break it up into what are called stories. Like, for example, the upstream, downstream MAC domain bandwidth. So the story would be, that TruVision needs an upstream MAC domain bandwidth report, and we'll flesh out what does that mean. What information needs to be in there? What columns? What needs to be sorted? Where do you get that info from? And then we collectively, as a team, will say, oh, what about this? We'll talk about what that means, and then score it. Every member of the team that's how it kind of agile works, and they score it, and then that becomes how many story points it was. And you only do so many story points in a month. So we try to prioritize and bubble up what are we going to do priority-wise, and then get as many stories in you can once you score it. And then when you run out of space, it's like, well, that's all we can do this month. And then the team takes that on, breaks it up, and then they divide that up into tasks, and they work on each individual piece. Sometimes we run into challenges where things we didn't know at the time when we scored it or prepared the story, and it might take a couple of iterations. Sometimes we finish sooner. It's easier. Very rarely. It's usually harder. And that's what we do. And then every month we do that, and then we package up a release. We have a bunch of test systems that we do in development, and then we test all the pieces and components in there, and then we roll that out to like that trial system and a couple other units that have things on it, and then we'll schedule a release. Once we've vetted all that and gone through all our testing and everything, we'll then schedule a release and roll it out to the general base. And then after it's released, sometimes we don't have every environment in the world that we run into in our lab. So sometimes we run into things that, we didn't see that, and we had that happen.
Yeah, right. This just happened this last release.
Yeah, this last release, one of the core components got updated, and we didn't test two places that we'd never touched, because we were like, we didn't touch it, so we didn't even look, unfortunately. So then we were like, darn it, we're gonna have to circle back and fix our testing methodology. But that's what ends up happening. And then we were like, oh no, so we had to fix 2 things and then do another release to follow that.
I was going to say, I mean, and you can't really plan on that because this is a complicated application and there's all kinds of variables. So every now and then something does happen where it's like, oh, you fix some things and you add some things, then maybe something breaks. But you guys are really good about, especially if it's something that is really noticeable, about getting right on it and doing a patch.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of other software vendors, you just get what you get and deal with it. If you compare us to what other vendors do, they just don't do what you get is what you get, and that's it. And if you want a new feature, oh well,
it might be a year down the road when they do
or
an
3-4 years, a new version, or I mean, we're constantly taking feedback and doing releases every month. If you look at just our release notes, you see we're constantly incrementally adding things like the links to those reports, the drill throughs for the moving the code word errors up on a per channel and then showing the history and the all those things are add-ons and changes and features, and so that's the advantage of what we do versus buying somebody that's just kind of static.
And we do get a lot of feature requests from customers, and obviously we can't do everything that customers ask. So how do we look at those? Do we look at how that will impact just a broad customer base?
It really is a strategic approach, right? Taking the things a factor of what's the impact, what's the value to all the customer base for that feature. So for example, like the bandwidth, if I get enough asks for that bubbles it up. There have been some people that have asked for that, and as more people request that particular thing, you hear, oh, that's a feature people want. I mean, I'll be honest, I get so many features. I would love to do them all. It's just you have to pick. So it's really value to the general base. How much value does it add? The impact. What's the broad impact of that change? And
sometimes we get the suggestion and go, wow, that's a really good idea. We just realized it's something good and we'll do it.
I can't remember. We actually scored it. It was like, how many does it impact? How impactful is the change, right? So, like, if it's just a really small subset and it's very little, then that doesn't get to the top, right? How many people does it affect, and how impactful is that one change to the overall base? And the more people ask, the better. That's one of my biggest frustrations in my role. I'll be honest with you. Probably my biggest frustration is I want to do everything that people want, and that's really cool. It's just I can't get to everything that everybody wants, and that probably is the most frustrating part of my job.
But over time, we've gotten to a lot of them because the things do. More people ask, or you have some time you can slip something in. I know I've seen you do that.
Yeah, and things change in the marketplace where that feature becomes that much more relevant, and that bubbles up. And we always kind of reevaluate and shuffle them around. I have a list that are so long I have enough development stuff for 2-3 years that we could do. It's just and I want to give everybody, our customers are really good. I want to give them everything I can. It's just hard to fit it all in. And if I can sneak in something easy or find a quick way to do it, and it adds value, that's great. Or if I can find a way to make it add more value for more people, I can make it bubble up. So I'm always trying to do that. And there's always, the vendors always change everything, and we're always chasing their changes. And like when they go to remote PHY, or when they went to 3.0 with bonding, when they went to 3.1, people moving to fiber, we're adding more fiber.
That takes resources to do all that stuff,
And then, right before I came in here, Cisco made a change, and they broke something, and now I've got to chase the change and find a workaround, because it's hard to move Cisco or whoever else, or the big, I'm not just picking on Cisco, but that just happens to be today. It could be any vendor.
Yeah. Pete walked in here like 2 minutes before we started. I was starting to sweat because, as you know, he would have been the second person that canceled on me today, so that would have been really good. I'd have been here basically doing nothing. So I appreciate your coming in.
But yeah, keep your eye out. Things to look for in the future. I don't want to give it away, some of the stuff, because I'll be pressed.
There's some cool stuff coming.
Yeah, obviously fiber and
Don't do it.
I can't give away
it.
stuff yet. I got cool stuff coming, but until we get it, I'll.
And also, he never knows, because again, he has something cool really planned, and really cool planned, and then something will throw you for a loop because it's a Cisco thing or something else.
That happens, and that's we're trying.
Things get pushed back. So.
Yeah.
So in general, though, people can expect a new release, an update, maybe once a month. Sometimes it's just maintenance, so they're going in and doing some things on the back end that you don't really notice. Sometimes there's a few little features in here and a little bug fix there. Right?
We're always adding features, and there's always bug fixes that we have to fix. So, but
all right, well,
it's good for.
Yeah, so maybe next time we do a release, we have something we can try to come in here sometime afterward between releases and just talk about.
Yeah, I mean, you caught me in the middle, so you can see, you get to see a little bit of the in between.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us again. Sorry that we missed Brady today, but I am planning on rescheduling with Brady. So for those of you with Pre-Equalization Analyzer already have the tool, I will make sure that's a DOCSIS PNM tool. If you don't have that. But I'll make sure that when I reschedule for Brady that I will communicate, notify everybody that is a Pre-Equalization Analyzer customer, so you can see that. He's going to go over intermittent modems in that application and how that can show you which modems are actually letting in large amounts of noise in your upstream, which is obviously a big problem if you're a cable operator. And there's a way to do that through pre-equalization metrics and metrics on the power from the modem. So we'll take a look at that time.
We didn't check the chat window.
Actually, the chat window is right here.
Okay, so we're good.
Yeah, I had it up and running. I don't see any questions. So sorry, I forgot to mention that you could ask questions. But
you can always ask questions after, and we'll reply.
You can ask questions. Yeah, if you're watching this now or watching it later unrecorded, you can ask questions in the chat, and I will go get an answer from Pete. And we'll reply.
Rick, you know the answer. Just
we'll reply
put it
in there.
I'll
fake it. I'll make something up.
There you go.
When you ask for that great new feature, I'll say no problem. That'll be on our next sprint.
That's what everybody does.
I'll write the story. I'm good at writing stories. Actually, I'm an author, so I can write stories.
There you go. Yeah, you got a book. There you go. Yeah. All right. Well, there you go.
All right. So
the latest things in TruVision.
Yeah. So next Tuesday may be with Brady if I can reschedule with him, and I will again notify everybody. Otherwise, we'll have another topic here on Tech Tuesday, and we will see you then. Thanks a lot for joining us. Bye.